All right, we've got John Wroblewski, so please use the raise hand function and let's go. Start with Jesse Cohen.
Hey, John. The record in March, completely different from the record in February. Just curious how you're feeling about the club and the team and how it's turned things around midway through the season so far.
Yeah, I think guys are just getting a little more comfortable in the key areas. We're not, if as crazy as it is, we're not generating as much offense as we had in the first 8-game segment as we are right now. We're actually a little deficient in that category, scoring chance wise, but we're capitalizing a little more often on it, and I think that just shows that guys are becoming increasingly more aware of the little pockets on the ice, and just a comfort level of the game not spinning on them all the time was they're trying to generate said chances, and where they're able to convert here or there. But just kind of our story to this season is we do have to deal with the extra attacker a little bit too often. We're getting pretty good at the scenarios of pulling our goaltender, I'll tell you that, and hope it's something I can carry with me for the rest of my coaching career, is to have that comfort level with when to get the goalie out and how to be prepared for it. Because I don't have the number in front of me, but it has to be some kind of record with how many times we've pulled them.
Since you pointed out that maybe the scoring chances aren't as high as they were earlier, but the goals are definitely pouring in the net right now. A game like 2 games ago where Kiel scores that hat trick in under 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it was. Obviously you're happy to get the win, happy to get the goals, but as a coach, are you then still more concerned that it took one guy performing an incredible feat at the end of the game to pick up that win?
Yeah, I think it wasn't like Akil went end to end in with those chances though. He was the benefactor of some really nice plays. He put himself in a great spot for the first one that night, but then there was 2 we call it a Stafford play, where it's that pop out guy on the power play. So he was the benefactor of two Staffords, where I think it was Byfield found him the first time, and then Elias Anderson found him the second time. So, but credit and all the credit to Akil for finding the back of the net. And I'm not sure you can place a better guy and a harder worker, a more diligent pro for a first year guy. He creates his own bounces by extra time in the shooting room, even on days off, and he's always working on his game. And the reason he's on the ice is because he's ultra dependable in those and really any scenario. You don't have to teach him too many times. He picks things up pretty quickly, and he's going to be a hell of a player down the road.
Pulled Villalta early tonight. Was that a wake up call for him or for the team?
There 2 goals went in that should not have gone in under any circumstance, anywhere, anytime, and I actually really liked the way we started. I think that we had the ice completely tilted in the first 5, and to be down 2-0 was a little deflating. But you know what? We came right back to what we needed to do, and I love the perseverance from this team, even when things aren't going perfectly. You can see that they still have that mindset, that growth mindset, that they can do it. They've come from behind a few times, and you know what? This is an area that they're going to have to be able to bank on as experience down the road, where where they're going to be in a game, and hopefully it's not as often when we're down in games, but they'll have the confidence of how to chip back into games and know that they can do it and do it the right way without having to push for offense. And so we're building some resiliency in that department as well.
Thanks, John.
Yep. Next up is John Hogan.
Hey, John, just curious, that you guys put 41 shots on goal in the 2 previous games against San Diego, and putting a lot of shots on net period has been sort of the hallmark of this team throughout the year, and they just didn't generate a lot tonight. Any theories or reasons behind that?
Yeah, for a couple of reasons, I feel, and I'm not sure if I can place it exactly, but it seemed like we didn't have everybody going at all times tonight. It felt like we were a little hit and miss, a little sporadic with our energy levels and just our overall effectiveness. And we were, you can kind of, there's a few markers with different teams as to, to show how dialed in they are and where where they are mentally and physically. And we were very sleepy with our third guy in the offensive zone or on the forecheck. He was out to lunch way too often tonight, leaving our D exposed. There was definitely something missing, whether it's mental fatigue, physical fatigue from having some games lopsided together. And of course, we're missing a few of our drivers. Not that that's an excuse, but it's a reality of losing and not having Faji and Byron and Boko, in no particular order up front. If I'm missing anybody else offhand, I apologize on that. And of course, Gauntz was an absolute stud for us when he went down. So you start to feel the effects of lineup unpredictability and guys maybe taking on a few more minutes is in that Bakersfield game. I think that might have. There's some probably understated wear and tear mentally from that weekend as well. That's a really tough team to play against coming off of travel in Tucson, and then to go down to 10 forwards basically out of the hopper. I won't bore you with the sports science, but our numbers were off the charts after that one. So I think that overall, I don't know what the shots ended up tonight, but I liked our chances. I liked our game enough for us to be in it at the end, and it was a shame that to surrender that lead like we did early in the third. I thought that was I'd have to go back and look at the goal, but it just seemed like it was too easy for San Diego there, and credit to them for capitalizing. But I thought that was more of a self-inflicted wound than something that they ultimately earned.
You made an interesting comment the other day, and I'm somewhat paraphrasing, but in talking about that top line with Turcotte and the group, you said that you have to be careful to not let it, sometimes you have to tweak things before it gets stale. And I'm just curious, for as electric as that line had looked in, the first 3-4 games they were put together, is it getting perhaps a little bit stale and maybe time to tweak it, or is it not fair because, like you said, it was more a function of the overall lineup tonight?
Yeah, let's take a look at the tape. But I'll tell you, your read on that line is fair, and I thought that they weren't skating downhill to start that game off. A little too unpredictable with their puck touches, and they can be a lot better than they were starting out. And we'll have a strong conversation with those three. They need to be drivers for the team, and they need to be producing scoring chances and not allowing the other team to handle them. And so it's obviously a high priority for the organization and particularly the Reign at this point, that those guys are going to have to be sharp, and whether they stick together or not is to be determined. But yeah, that's it's going to be up to them. I think we'll probably go back to the well with it, but they'll be on high alert.
And one last one for you. Is this stretch of games this week perhaps the most challenging of the season, where normally you've been playing these 2-game sets, and so you have a chance to adjust or rebound in the second game, but here you're going to play 3 one-off games? Is this the most difficult stretch for you because of that?
Yeah, we it seems like we've graduated into the situation where the schedule was pretty light, pretty predictable, and there's no doubt that now we're in a flurry, and there's not gonna be a lot of time to come up for air. We're gonna need more consistent efforts from all facets, and the special teams included, not just players, but also all departments. We need to be better with the situations we can control. We were deficient tonight within our neutral zone structure. They applied and really just dominated the scoring chances. We were supposed to be in structure, and they carved through us too often. Another sign of some mental or a physical drain. So we're not going to let that creep in. We're going to do what we can to really honestly to embrace it, to know that things are going to be hard. And this is when you really, the mark of the pro. Anybody can go and play a really strong game when their energy's in the right spot. And we need to make sure that these guys can play under adverse conditions when not everything is perfect. So we'll definitely address that as well.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
We'll move now to Patrick Williams.
Hi, Coach. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Elias Anderson. About 7 games in now to his time in Ontario. What have you seen in terms of his play?
He's a fiery competitor, versatile offensively, and just at this point, just checks all the boxes for what you want from a veteran guy or an experienced player coming down from the NHL. He competes. He gives us that fire, and he's got enough skill to burn you, as you saw a couple times. I don't know if you saw the Bakersfield highlights, but he had a pretty sweet dangle, and it would have been our 6th goal on Saturday. And he goes through his legs on a toe drag and then finds Sean Dursey on the back door for that. So he not only plays an honest 200-foot game most nights, but he brings some electricity and some flair to his game as well. And that's something that that every team strongly desires. You look at whether it's San Diego with some like DeLeo or Carrick and guys like that are can dominate on the power play and make plays 5-on-5. It's what you're looking for from guys that are assigned from the NHL club.
And when a young player like him has had, he's had some difficult times, ups and downs in his career. How do you try to manage a player like that and kind of get things back on track for him when he's still pretty young?
Yeah, it's interesting. So what we're trying to do is make his jump back to the NHL. Trying to get him back to that level. And so the main concentration has just been some defensive positioning, which he frankly he's been a little off with. He needs to pick up his guys here and there, and sometimes he gravitates a little bit too much to the puck, and that can happen without playing the game. Like he hasn't played a ton, so we're just working with that. And when he does play, it's more of a defensive role, and we're asking him to produce and make sure he checks up on that defensive side of the puck. So a little bit of a role switch for him, and one that we're going to keep working with him. But it's such a delicate balance of not knowing exactly how long you're going to have him for, and then not trying to change everything that he's doing at once, and making sure that he's not out there thinking too much as well. Like he's got to be out there and playing instinctually, and then just try to bring him along bit by bit. So to be honest, Patrick, like it's not much different from the rest of the players. We're not trying to do an overhaul of, let's say, Quentin Byfield either. It's just chipping away at a habit or two until he fixes that one, and then it's on to the next. So it's kind of doesn't really change for any player, whether it's Brett Sutter or one of our youngest guys.
And just last thing, Cameron Gaunce, what's his status going forward?
Yeah, he's out for a couple of weeks here. That's
Okay.
all I can say. So it's mid-body injury.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's it for tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night.